Hola. Bom dia. Tudo bem? O meu nome é Karen Ross, and I wish I could speak more Portuguese. I cannot. So thank you for listening. Obrigada in English. And if you have any problem understanding, please let me know. My friend Sammy Obara will come and help me in Portuguese. So first of all, I want to start out by saying obrigada, muito obrigada, first of all, for Clovis, for bringing me here. It's a huge honor to speak to Six Sigma Brasil, so muito obrigada. And muito obrigada to all of you for coming here to spend your time, to learn, to make yourself better, to improve yourself. That's a huge commitment. The only way we can make anything better is first to start with ourselves. So, obrigada, obrigada, muito obrigada. Now I'm going to see if I can work the slide. Okay, a little bit about me. First of all, I'm an artist. Now you're saying to yourself, what is an artist doing in the world of business? I have a master's degree in sculpture, and guess what artists are really good at? Two things. First thing is creating new things. I went to the MASPI and saw the Tarsila exhibit 2 days ago. Oh my goodness. Yesterday I went to Pinacoteca. Oh my goodness. So many wonderful artists here in Brazil and so creative. I am so impressed. Artists are good at two things, creating new things and solving problems. If I want a 500-pound sculpture made of concrete and steel to stand, I need to figure out how to solve that problem. Some people think PDCA is the scientific method. I say it's also the artistic process. So today we're going to talk about creativity. All of the artwork you see on my slides, I did it myself. And ladies, my dress, I designed and sewed myself too. Creativity helps us in many areas of our life. I'm an author, Toyota Way to Service Excellence, which actually is now translated into Portuguese, so you can read it in Portuguese. And my new book, How to Coach for Creativity and Service Excellence, which is a lean coaching workbook, and we're going to talk about both of those books in this speech. I'm a coach, so I have many clients around the world that I help them improve their service. I'm a consultant. I'm going to tell you something most people don't know about me. Although I coach many lean things, I have dos Six Sigma black belts. So I understand Six Sigma as well and teach many Six Sigma things to people too. Last thing, I'm actually a lean practitioner. I learned lean in services, not in manufacturing. And the reason I learned lean was I took care of 300 customers in a payroll company. I was frontline customer service. Customers would call me and I would type their payroll into an old DOS computer system. Do you remember blue screen? Yeah? We made lots of mistakes. When someone gets a mistake on their paycheck, do you know how they feel? Terrible. Do you know what they do? They call the person who made the paycheck and they scream at them. It's very stressful for the people doing the work. So I heard the word Kaizen, and I taught myself how to do lean. And I taught other people at the same time so we could make things better for the fabulous people who were our customers. No matter how many years pass, I never forget what it was like to do the work in service in the Gemba. Because that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, We all exist for one reason. That is to serve our customers. So, I'm going to tell you a little story to start out. Let's talk about service excellence. This story is a story that happened recently to my husband. My husband always says to me, "Why do you have to tell stories about me all the time?" Of course, it's his job. That's why he's meu marido. Yeah. See, I'm learning Portuguese. So, a few weeks ago, my husband, who is a professor, went to San Diego to go to a conference. We live near Chicago. Beginning of May. He was supposed to come back on Sunday. But do you know what happened in Chicago on Sunday, May 6th? We had a snowstorm. This is terrible. It's supposed to be primavera. But we had a snowstorm. So the airline said to my husband, "Your flight is canceled. You cannot come back." He waited in line 3 hours. And when he got to the front of the line, do you know what they said to them? They said, "Oh, don't worry. We can send you back to Chicago on Wednesday." I know, isn't that terrible? He said, "But it's Sunday, Domingo. What do you mean you can send me on Wednesday? I have students. What happens to my students on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday? When they need to go to class, what happens?" Airline said, "Not our problem. We can send you Wednesday." My husband said, "I have to stay in a hotel. I have to eat food. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Who will pay for that?" The airline said, "You will pay for that. Bad weather in Chicago. Not our problem." My husband said, "That's very expensive." My husband said, "Can you send me on another airline?" No, they said, "We can't. If there is a mechanical problem on the plane, we can send you on another airline. But because it's bad weather in Chicago, it's not our problem and we can't." Do you know what my husband did next? He did the smart thing. He called me. Of course, I travel all the time. I went on the computer, on the travel site. I booked him a ticket on another airline for Monday, and he came home. Do you think that is a story of service excellence? Do you think that is good customer service? If you think it is good customer service, put up your hand. If you think it is poor customer service, put up your hand. Yes, it's terrible. And really the problem is, every time my husband asked the airline, "What can you do for me?" all they could say is, "We can't. We can't, we can't, we can't." And do you know what the 2 words no customer ever wants to hear? It doesn't matter whether they're in Brazil, whether they're in France, whether they're in India, whether they're in United States. The 2 words no customer ever wants to hear: "I can't." So, now, because I don't think it's right that only I'm going to stand up here and talk, that's too much work for me. You have to do a little work too. For 2 minutes. Dos minutos? Thank you. Obrigada. I want you to turn to the person beside you, and I want you to think about your company, work you do in your company. And I want you to tell the person beside you an example of something that you say, "I can't," in your company to your customers. Okay? Everybody ready? 2 minutos? I have the iPhone timer. Go. All right, everybody. Time is up. I think that's a lot of I can'ts. Maybe it's not only in the United States that this is happening, that we tell our customers I can't. This is a problem that happens all over the world. So, why is it a problem? It's a problem because in the United States, and maybe it's like this in Brazil, 50% of all customers leave a company after one poor service experience. One time of telling somebody, I can't, may actually cause them to leave your company. We need to think about not what we can't do for customers, because can't is all the ways we know of working now. When we say to a customer, I can't, we're talking about the past. Only things we already know, but guess what? This is the thing I tell all of my customers, the most important thing. The future is not what we already know. I want you to think about that. How many of you have been working in whatever company or job you have for 10 years? If you work for 10 years, raise your hand. How about 5 years? Raise your hand. 2 years? 1 year? In all of that time, are things the same as they were 10 years ago? No. Are they the same as they were 5 years ago? No. Are they the same as they were 1 month ago? No. The world is changing. People's needs, customers' needs are changing. Our organizations are changing. If we rely only on what we know from the past, do you know what's going to happen? All we are going to be able to do is tell our customers the 2 words that they don't want to hear. I can't. So while I'm talking with you today and after you leave, I want you to think about this. The future is not what we already know. So, now that we know that, what can we do to stop telling customers I can't and to stop thinking in the past? Remember I said that I'm a coach and consultant? Normally, I'm the coach and consultant for the CEO or the president of an organization. And when I first go to talk to them and meet them, I always say, what are you working on here? What is it that you're doing to serve your customers? And you know what they almost always say to me? Well, I hope that we can, and then you can insert whatever the company does. But I say to them, hope is not a strategy. If we only hope to change I can't to I can, we're not going to get very far, are we? Hope is not a strategy. What we need to do is actually use creativity and lean to create the services and products of the future. So, lots of times we think about lean as tools. We think value stream map, Kaizen, 5S, a lot of different things. But I want us to go back and think about Sakichi Toyoda, the grandfather of the Toyota production system and Toyota. And Sakichi Toyoda is known in Japan not as the king of Toyota production system tools, but as the king of inventors. Sakichi Toyoda was focused on the future, and I want you to read, I'm going to read to you, the 5 main principles that he had. I think it's really important as we go forward to think about these. And the first is, always be faithful to your duties, thereby contributing to the company and to the overall good. Always be studious and creative. striving to stay ahead of the times. Always be practical and avoid frivolousness. Always strive to build a home-like atmosphere at work that is warm and friendly. Always have respect for spiritual matters and remember to be grateful at all times. I want you to really think about this because so often we focus on the tools of lean instead of actually focusing on the fact that lean is the way that we can actually create new things to satisfy the wants and needs of our very valuable human being customers. Because service is actually about putting the needs of our customers first. So, how do we do that? Let's find out. First of all, we have to focus not on what we already know from the past, but we need to focus on creativity and creating. Lean is actually about creating. It's about creating a systematic way of managing our organization so that we can flourish, thrive, and grow for the long term. It's also about creating new services, products, and better ways to work now and for the future. So, we talked about what customers don't want, and we talked about thinking about lean as the basis of creativity. Let's talk about what all customers do want. And actually, I have the absolute joy and honor of traveling all over the world. And everywhere I've gone in the world, I found that customers want these same three things. And it's not just one of them, it's all of them together. The first is hassle-free processes. That means everything is easy. Customers get what they want, when they want it, right the first time. In Brazil, do you use Amazon? Yes. Do you have the one-click feature on Amazon? Yes, right? You could go on order Amazon, press one button, and then tomorrow or the next day, the package arrives at your door. I'm going to tell you, my parents-in-law, who live in Canada, they live in Toronto, and they're in their 70s. I didn't realize they have a home shopping problem, online shopping problem, but they do. And guess what? I went to visit them every morning in Toronto, Canada. They order from Amazon, press the one-click button, 9 o'clock in the morning. By 11 o'clock in the morning, the package is on the door. Isn't that amazing? Yes. Also a problem, right? When my husband and I saw how much things arrived on the door, we said, oh, we need to help your parents. That's what people want and are used to. One click, what they want, when they want it, right the first time. When you order from Amazon, do you have a mistake in what you get? I never had it. And it doesn't matter what company you are now, whether you're a manufacturing company, whether you're in service, whether you're a restaurant, all companies are going to compare you to Amazon and your service to Amazon. So first element of peak services and service excellence. People get what they want, when they want it, right the first time. No hassle. Here's the second one. Luxury experience at Coach price. So now I told you about my parents-in-law, I'm going to tell you about my parents. My mother and father are 85. Actually, my father just turned 86. And they live 1 hour outside of Toronto. So they actually landed in Toronto, but then they had to take a taxi 1 hour to their house. When they got home, they were very unhappy. And when they're unhappy with service, do you know who they call? Me. Why were they unhappy? Well, they were unhappy because when they got in the taxi, there was no place to plug in their iPad to charge. I know you're saying 85 years old, who's plugging in the iPad? But that's the way it is now. The driver did not give them a bottle of water. I know, isn't that terrible? Didn't give them a snack. And you know what the worst thing was? Charged them twice as much money as Uber. In today's day and age, when we have social media, when everybody can post everything, we all expect to be treated like VIPs. We all expect things to feel very luxurious. But do we expect to pay any more? No, we expect things to be less expensive. So I call the second element of peak services and service excellence luxury experience at coach prices. So not only does it have to be hassle-free, what they want when they want it right the first time, it actually has to feel luxurious and cost less, or at least equal to our competitor. So what's the third one? The third one, I think, is the most important. Personal human connection. Because no matter how good technology becomes and what our digital abilities are, guess what? We're human beings. And what we really want is that personal human connection. Aren't we all having a nice time because we're sitting here all together today, in person, when we have the coffee break? Isn't it fun to talk to people? No matter how many friends we have on social media, what we really want is personal human connection. And remember, what's service about? The definition of service is about putting the needs of others before our own. It's about people. Well, now you're saying to me, oh, that's all very well, nice and good. But if we're supposed to have the first one hassle-free, and we can do that with a lot of technology, how can we actually have all of those together and have personal human connection and have it not cost more? I'll tell you a little story about that. I have a kitten. How do you say that? Gato? Like a little one. Okay, a little one. And he was abandoned at my neighbor's house. His mother left him when he was 3 weeks old. So I took him home. And I took him to the vet, and the vet said, oh, very good, but he needs to have a special product, kitten lysine. I said, what's that? I don't know about that. So I went on the website of a very big pet delivery service company we have in the United States called Chewy. I don't know if you have that here. So I looked on the website. I was shocked. Do you know how many kinds of kitten lysine there are? 20 kinds. I thought, I don't know about that. I know about improving processes. So on top of the screen was the phone number for Chewy. So I called them. And do you know what happened? On the first ring, a real person answered the phone. And the person said to me, hello, Karen. How can I help you today? I'm like, oh, I was shocked. I told him about the kitten lysine. He looked on the same screen I was looking on. He told me which one he suggested I buy, and I bought it. Now, I also have a big dog, so I order all my dog food from the Chewy, so they knew who I was. My big dog, he always wanted a kitten. He loves the kitten. They're best friends. Actually, now I wrote a new book about them. I'll tell you about that after. But the dog would not go for his walk because he wouldn't leave the kitten in the house. So I had an idea. Maybe I can buy a stroller, like a baby stroller, and put the kitten in and walk the dog and the kitten. Very creative, don't you think? So I went on Chewy website. You know what I think? I think no kitten stroller. I'm wrong. There's 12 kitten strollers. So I think, oh, I don't know which is the best to buy. So I called the number. Do you know what happened? First ring, someone answered and said, "Hi, Karen. How can I help you?" I said, "I have a question." They said, "What's your question?" I said, "How often do you answer the phone on the first ring using someone's name?" And do you know what they said? 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day. They said, if someone didn't order from us before, we don't know their name because it's not tied to the database. But if someone ordered before, we use their name. If they didn't order before, we get their name and we put it in the database. Do you think it's more expensive to order on Chewy? It is the least expensive way to buy pet products in the United States. So, I think it had all of those 3 elements. Hassle-free, easy to use, luxury experience at Coach Price. Oh, I feel very good when someone uses my name, right? I only expect that at a fancy place. And personal, caring, human connection. I almost always only shop in local stores to help my local economy. Do you think I buy all of my pet food and all of my things for my cat and dog and fish because I like animals a lot? I buy it all on Chewy because no customer ever wants to hear the words, "I can't." We all want peak services. So the challenge for us in all organizations is not to say, we cannot do those things. Oh, it will be too expensive to have someone answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's the thinking of the past, right? That's the old thinking about what we cannot do. In past, when I go to talk to organizations who are using lean, oftentimes they're thinking about it in a very reactive way. I call it necessity is the mother of invention. A customer has a problem or the organization has a problem, and now we're going to fix it. Problem with that is we already told the customer we can't, or they already had a problem, and maybe they're going to go to another company. What we really need to do is work towards creating those peak services. What I call invention is the mother of necessity. We need to change our focus for what we're using our lean process for. How do we do that? I call it by practical creativity. So let's talk about that for a moment. We're going to talk about creativity first. How many people here think they are creative? If you think you're creative, raise up your hand. How come everyone's hand is not up? Everybody here is a human being, aren't you? I believe all human beings are innately creative. Unfortunately, I think we have a wrong definition of creativity. Many people think that creativity is the bolt of lightning that comes out of the sky, the flash of inspiration that happens to someone else, someone in the marketing department, right? Someone in the design department. Oh, a crazy artist like Karen who's pushing the cat in the stroller, right? Guess what? Every single one of us is creative. I want you to change your definition of creativity. 2, creativity is about generating ideas from past experiences that we've had. Every single one of us as a human being has different experiences, and those give us lots of ideas. And when we work together with people who come from different backgrounds and different experiences, actually, we can create many new and different things because we can add our ideas together. Maybe you have an idea and you say, oh, we could do something this way. And then you think, oh yes, and we could do something else. And then you think, oh yes, and that makes me think we could do this. Every single one of us is creative. We need to combine and synthesize our experiences and then put them all together. That's the creativity part. But if we just have all great ideas about what we could do, and we keep them in our minds, and we don't turn them into a reality, does that help our customers? No. Does that help our company? No. So what we need to do is actually turn those ideas into reality. This is the practical part, using PDCA. We need to take our idea, say, this is what we want to try, find the quickest way to try it out, make a hypothesis about what's going to happen, then try it out and see if what we thought was going to happen actually happened, or if something different happened. That's really the basis of how Toyota learned to create flow, right? By experimentation. So we need to do that to get closer to the targets for our customers and our organizations. Practical creativity. Well, now you're saying that's all well, nice and good. Karen is talking all about services. I don't work in a service company. I work in a manufacturing company. But guess what? It doesn't matter where anybody works, because I'm going to tell you a secret. Every single company is a service company, because no matter what product or service you sell, everything starts with service. In order to make any kind of product, a customer has to place an order. Correct? Once the customer places an order, for many things, especially in manufacturing, we have to make an estimate for what the product will cost, don't we? So even though we work in a manufacturing company, before we can manufacture anything, we have to have effective, efficient service for customers, don't we? Yes. So if you think of yourself in a manufacturing company and you think I don't need lean in services, I want you to think again. Because if your customer cannot place an order in an easy, hassle-free way with a luxurious feeling and personal human connection, maybe they don't want to order from your company. Maybe they want to go somewhere else. So, sometimes people say to me, lean in services is the same as lean in manufacturing. It's not. And I'm going to tell you why not. The reason is because in services, we have something that I call a circular value stream. If you're making a car, other companies are going to supply the bumpers, they're going to supply the headlights, they're going to supply the interior, they're going to supply the steering wheels, and they're all going to be brought to the line and assembled together. Then they're going to go down the line. And at the end, maybe I'm going to get a new car, right? In services, we have something usually different. The person supplying the information to make the service is often the same person who's actually the customer. So if I have a question about buying kitten lysine or a cat stroller, I have to call the company and supply all the information to get the correct product. Service is about people. So here's the problem. Maybe you've noticed this. People are not perfect. Did anyone notice that? Yes. Guess what happens? People give the wrong information all the time. Yesterday when I was on my tour of beautiful Sao Paulo, I asked the tour guide about this. And do you know what he said? People give me the wrong information all the time. They give me the wrong address to pick them up at the hotel. So then I go to the hotel to pick up the person, and the person is not there. Then I'm late, and the customer is unhappy. So our challenge is to think about the value stream as a circular value stream and actually How can we make sure that our very imperfect human customers give us all the information right the first time up front? Circular value streams are a challenge to flow. Because in the beginning, you're laughing over here. Maybe that happened to you too. We have missing information from customers or inaccurate information. And when we have that, either we have to call the customer back, which customers don't like, it wastes our time, or we create the service product that's incorrect, then customers are unhappy, and we have to waste our time in rework. So, in services, the most important way to increase your efficiency is to focus on being more effective. Get all of the information you need from your customer right up front the first time. Then, then what we need to do when we get that information is actually figure out how we can go from I can't to I can. So this is something from my new book. So let's say for the very nice person who was the tour guide yesterday, he found that he has a problem getting the right information from his customers about their hotel address. Well, how can he fix that? Very simply, he can use creativity. The first thing to do is to say, what does my customer need? Correct pickup from hotel. Then he can list as many reasons why we can't do that now. I can't do that because customers don't give me the right address. Customers type things in wrong. I don't check what the address of the hotel is. I don't verify. And then once we write the long list of I can'ts, all we need to do is brainstorm all different ways that we could get around those I can'ts and quickly try them out, one at a time. Because PDCA means that actually we try something quickly, see what happens. Did it match the hypothesis? Did it help us get our customer from the right hotel or not? If not, what else do we need to do? That's the way to create peak services. So I started out by saying everything starts with service, but guess what? It all ends with service too. No matter what kind of company you work in, once the customer has the service, you'd like to get paid, right? We have to send them an invoice and a bill. If the invoice is wrong for the service, how do our customers feel? Just as angry and upset. They're unhappy and their experience is not good. And what happens if somebody has one poor service experience? Maybe they're going to go to another company. So no matter where you work, no matter what customers you serve, your organization needs to use lean in services to create the services of the future, because every single one of you serves human beings. There's another way that this all ends with service as well. Maybe you'll notice I always wear this little red heart button. This is my PDCA logo, but this button, as I travel around the world and I meet people who are kind, I give everybody a button. And I stop them and I say, thank you for kindness. Because no matter who we are, what we believe, as long as we treat each other kindly, the world will be a better place. This world, whether you live in Brazil or United States, we have so many problems in our world. Poverty, homelessness, hunger, all of those problems. There are 7 billion of us here on Earth. The only people who are here to solve the problems are us. People will spend more time in their adult lives at work. They'll spend more time at work than they will anywhere else. So if we teach people how to reclaim and rediscover and practice their creativity, and how to turn their ideas into practical realities to serve others, to put the needs of others first, they're going to take that learning home. They're going to take that learning home, and they're going to make things better in their families. They're going to make things better in their communities, and they're going to make things better in the world. When you work in these ways, you're not just making your company better, you're making a better world. So I'm going to end the way I started, and I'm going to say, muito obrigada for all of you, for coming here to learn, for the jobs that you do in your organizations to make things better. You're making a better world, and it's an honor for me to be with you all.